Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 20 Bee Dollar Tree DIYs for you. I think this is such a fun theme for spring or for summer, and there's some of my favorite DIYs to do here on my channel. For this bee DIY, we're going to use one of the bee garden flags from the Dollar Tree and two of their wooden shelves. I want to take this really cute little design that says, "Hey there, honeybee," and make really cute like wall decor for inside my house. So I've used these little wall shelves before, maybe the skinnier ones that are a little bit thicker to make an outdoor wall hanging where I included the entire like garden flag on a DIY. But I thought I wanted this one to be smaller, so I'm just going to use two of those wood shelves together to make a rectangular sign, and we can dress it up a little bit too. So I love crafting with these little wall shelves because they're nice and thick. They're like real wood, and you can put them together. So I just did a bead of hot glue there on one and just pushed them together, trying to make sure that I didn't have any like excess hot glue sticking out. And I think this is my best side to DIY. They are a little rough with the carvings where the holes are here for the shelves. So I'm just going to give them a quick sand so that you won't have any bumpiness there when I attach the flag. I want like this part where it says, "Hey there, honeybee." I don't really care about the top and the bottom, and I'm okay with the buffalo check being on the side, so because kind of need it to be there to make it wide enough. Now to attach it, I'm just using matte Mod Podge. I'm doing like a rather thicker coat here because it's kind of an outdoor material. It's kind of shiny, and I want to make sure that it stays on, so I used a nice thick coat and then kind of position it on there. The Mod Podge is really wet, so you have plenty of time to kind of maneuver it, move it around until you get it exactly where you want it. I want all of my words to be on there, nothing cut out, and it to be centered onto the wood boards. I'm just going to dry that off with a dry paper towel to smooth it out, and also go over it with my hands to make sure there's really no bubbling or anything like that that might show up later. I also go in with my heat gun and give it a quick dry, and we can go ahead and start cutting the excess fabric off. I am going to frame this out too so it doesn't have like rough, crazy edges, but I do want a fairly clean cut on this. Now, this material, I tried it first with a razor blade here to just cut the excess material. I thought I could probably get closer like that, and it did work, but it was kind of hard to get it like really close to the wood. So I did have to do a little bit of trimming there to get it a little bit closer. And this is not all the way dry yet, so I could still kind of maneuver it a little bit. For the other side though, I just decided to do scissors. I thought that that was going to be easier and work a little bit better. I just kind of turned it over and cut as close to the wood as I possibly could. And this is what we have so far. This is such a fun way to make a personalized sign like this. It's already got a really cute theme with the sunflower and the bees and the saying. I'm just going to go ahead and poke holes here in the top since it already had holes on the hanging shelf. I'm just going to poke those in that garden flag material so I can string up a new hanger. And I wanted to do that first before I frame it out because I don't want that to get in the way. I just string it in here from behind and tie it in the front. I did make sure to have plenty of Mod Podge on the corner so that none of that lifted up. That's kind of the most crucial part there. And then make sure your holes are definitely large enough in there so you can get your twine through there cleanly. And I just tied it off on the other side. So this is what we have so far. I think it's a great starter piece. And I want to frame it out. I have some Dollar Tree rope. I think this is the thicker one of the two, It's a little bit shorter, but I think it's plenty to go around this size sign. I'm just gonna start in one corner here. I just removed the tape off the end, and we're just gonna use hot glue to glue it here. I love using rope with bee crafts. I always try to include it. I think it looks really good together. And I like using rope for frames for like Dollar Tree signs like this. It just gives it a finished edge without having to do any framing or anything like that. I'm just gonna take that same piece of Dollar Tree rope and we're gonna go around all four sides with that. And I'll show you how I kind of blend it when I get back down here to the corner. We're also going to add some more items to this to really make this sign special. And I love how this turned out. I love the saying. And I found I got like at least 3 bee garden flags at Dollar Tree this year for crafting. And I think that they have a pretty good selection. So here at the end, I kind of cut it a little bit at an angle, and then I added hot glue. If you let that cool off a little bit, you can mold it and get that curved corner like on all the rust. Then I just go over it with a lighter to burn off any fuzzies, clean it up a little bit. It wasn't too bad. Now I wanted to add to it, it's already got like that great sunflower on it and the sunflowers in the corner, but I thought it'd be really cute to make it look 3D. So I picked up like one of the large sunflowers from Dollar Tree. This one's pretty massive. And I just take it off the stem and I'm gonna cut off the plastic stem. This one doesn't make the flower fall apart when you do that. So I can attach it like that. I'm not going to add any greenery. I'm just going to use the greenery that was on the sign already, but I just used hot glue to attach that. It was the perfect size. And I also wanted to attach some bees. I wasn't able to find the wood bees from Dollar Tree this year, so I ordered a bag of these on Amazon, and they're pretty similar. They're just little wooden beads. They're pretty inexpensive. I'll be sure to add those to my Amazon shop if you're in the market for those. I got them within a day, and they really great for crafting. So I just add one with hot glue, kind of spinning this around a little bit so it's a little bit more symmetrical, the center of the sunflower. And I'm just going to glue a couple little bees on here. I thought that would really make the theme and really make the sign special. I think I'm going to hang this in my kitchen area for spring. And I guess I could even use it for summer as well. This is how it turned out. Their little hey there honeybee sign using a garden flag from the Dollar Tree, a couple of wood shelves, a sunflower, and some rope. I love it. I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this one? If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do better here on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, the next bee DIY, I found this little vase in the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. It's an unfinished ceramic, but I thought it looked just like a Bee Hive or a bee skep, and I thought this would be a really cute little vase to make. It's kind of on the smaller size, so think a cabinet, a tier tray, something like that. It would be really cute. And it's unfinished ceramic. I want the white color on there, but I also need to seal it since it is an unfinished ceramic. And I'm just doing that with some matte Mod Podge to seal that rough ceramic so that I can go over and distress it more. I want to make it look brown and distressed, kind of like a beehive would look. So I did go over it with a couple of coats of Mod Podge, drying in between. I just wanted to make sure it was really sealed. I know that the ceramic items like this from the Dollar Tree can be a little bit hard to paint. And I'm not necessarily going to paint it. I'm going to more distress it. And I didn't want to paint it white since it's already white. So a couple of coats on there, and the way that I'm going to distress it is some antique wax by Waverly. I kind of struggled a little bit on this. I'll end up showing you what worked a little bit better. I started going in like side to side like this, which made it a little bit challenging with all of the ridges on there, but I just went ahead and went over the entire vase with some of that antique wax by Waverly, and my plan is to wipe a lot of that off and leave a distressed finish. So I've got pretty good coverage there. Let me go ahead and do the top as well, so don't forget that. And then I went in with a baby white. Now, the problem with this, I don't know, maybe I sealed it too well. Most of it came off. I did get like a light distressing, but I want it to be a little bit more distressed, but I've already kind of started that process. So I went ahead and used my wipe all over, and I'll just add some more antique wax by Waverly. I tried again to add like another coat here and just distress it a little bit more all over. wiping it off with a baby wipe again, but I kind of got the same result. So I changed it up and decided to go up and down like this. And that was the trick to distressing this with the shape of the outside of the vase. And see how much better that worked? And I did still kind of, wipe it with my baby wipe and distress it. I just want even coverage all over and kind of sponging it on instead. And that's the look that I was going for. And maybe I sealed it too well. But this is the look I was going for. I'm just making sure that it is evenly distressed all over. You can always add more. And then a little bit more here on the top. Now, the Antique Wax by Waverly, when you use it like a paint like this, is a little bit harder to dry. I gave mine a little bit of assistance with my heat gun to get it started drying, and it actually dried faster than I thought it would because I do want to go in and paint it a little bit more. I want like an opening in the beehive or bee skep, so I just use a black paint pen and I'm going to do a circle. So I kind of like sketch out where I kind of think the circle is going to go and try to draw a circle on there. It doesn't really matter if you get a perfect circle because as you're filling that in with paint, you can always kind of reshape your circle a little bit. Circles are hard, especially on a surface like this. And I'm just going to go within there. I'm trying not to disturb any of the Antique Wax by Waverly, but the Posca pens in general work really well. So my circle is not super symmetrical. So once I got it on there, I did kind of go around the edges, try to make it look a little bit more like a circle if I can. And we're also going to add some bees to this before we add our spring florals. I think that looks really cute. I'm going to use those same wooden beads that I got on Amazon. I have got those before at Dollar Tree. Have any of you guys seen them at Dollar Tree this year? I have not found them, but somebody may have wiped them out before I got there. And they do have little stickers on them, but for crafting, I like it to be a little bit stronger, so I just peel those off, add a little bit of hot glue. I find that that works a little bit better. And I'm going to scatter them around the beehive like they are coming into the beehive, kind of in a random pattern, wherever I think one looks really good. I was trying to decide if I usually like to work with odd numbers, so I was thinking 3. But then I went in and decided to add 4 because I thought they looked really cute. And we're going to do a nice spring flower in this vase to kind of go with the bee theme. I really like using yellow flowers if I can, or white and yellow flowers with bees. I think it really goes well with the theme and looks really cute for spring. So I think 4 is definitely enough. It's looking really cute. I've made a similar beehive vase like this with Dollar Tree rope in a previous DIY video, a much larger version of this. This is kind of a smaller scale, and I think this vase I found at Dollar Tree works perfectly. So I just put a little bit of sand there in the bottom of my vase, and I found these little mini daisies that are yellow and brown, so I think they're perfect for the bee theme. I'm just going to cut them apart, making sure to leave the greenery on them, kind of just scooting that up, and we're going to fill this all the way up. I probably didn't need to use all of them, but I wanted it to be nice and full, so I went ahead and used them all. I have so many extra florals in my crafting stash. I really need to use them all sometimes. And that looks really cute. I'm going to give them a little blow dry to make sure that they are not bent and they're looking their best. And here it is, our little beehive or bee skep vase. I think is perfect. When I saw this vase at the Dollar Tree, this is exactly what I saw. And I just love how it turned out. So let me give you a little close-up view of our little beehive vase. Those little bees from Amazon are really cute. And I think they really add to it. Isn't that adorable? It's not very big. It's probably like maybe about 6 or 7 inches in total. For this spring bee DIY, I wanted to make a giant sunflower wreath for my front door, and I'm going to use one of the bunny wreath forms for this. Now, you really don't have to have the bunny wreath form. You could just use one of the medium size or smaller wreath forms like this. Now, the inspiration that I saw uses 5 or 6 of these bunny wreath forms and they stack them all on top of each other. There's no way I'm going to be able to find that many in Dollar Tree, and I wouldn't want to wipe them all out anyway. And so I was able to find one, and I'm just going to use some wired jute from the Dollar Tree to make the rest of my petals. Now, this was definitely way more work than probably stacking 5 or 6 of them on top of each other, but I'll show you how I made mine. For the wired jute, I'm just cutting a piece that is going to be a little bit longer than the bunny ear, right? And I'm using masking tape on this because I know how this likes to fall off the wire, the twine from the Dollar Tree, and this trick worked really well. You're not going to be able to see the ends of these anyway, so I can leave the tape on there. I just put the tape on there and cut it about halfway, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a second one here as well. I just taped every single one. I didn't want it to be too thick, but I do want it to be tight here. And I'm just using wire cutters to cut that wire inside of it. And it was actually able to cut through everything. So that made it a little bit easier, and I didn't have to worry about the twine falling off of the wire. And I wasn't sure how many I was going to do. I know a lot of people do 6 of the bunny wreaths on top of each other, so that's a total of 12 petals. They're really kind of close together like that, so I think I ended up doing 10. Yes, 10 petals, and that includes the 2 bunny ears. So I need to cut 8 of these. I could get about 3 out of one package, and then the 4th piece wasn't long enough. So I'm just going to continue this on and kind of cut just a few at a time, and I can always cut more later. I didn't want to make too many. But this was probably the most labor-intensive part of this wreath DIY, was cutting all of these pieces and wiring them to the wreath form. Since I bent them in half like that, it was really easy to get that bunny ear or petal shape. And I made them a little longer so I would have enough wire to go around the wreath form. I'm just going to have it go around the middle wreath, the middle wreath form, that center one. And I'm going to wrap it around a few times to hold it on there. And that seemed to work. It does kind of want to come out a little bit, so I do end up gluing that twine down to the outer ring as well. And it worked pretty well. Now, if you were going to do the 5 or 6 bunny wreaths on top, if you want to do it kind of the easier way, I have seen other people do theirs. And what they end up doing is cutting out that center part of the wreath, the center circle, so that it's more of a flat wreath and it doesn't have like the 3D to it. So you can stack them all together without getting a super thick wreath in the middle. I kind of like only having one wreath form here in the middle though. I think that made it a little bit easier for the final step of the sunflower. So I'm just trying to space them out kind of evenly, kind of like what I have the bunny ears. I kind of separated those a little bit so they weren't touching. I know a lot of people when they make these make their petals touching, and if you were going to do 6 of them, 12 petals, it would probably make them all touch. And so it's kind of up to you whether you want to do 10 or 12, but I chose to do 10. I didn't really want them completely touching. I wanted a little bit of separation between each one. And this was a time-consuming wreath, and it was probably because of this extra step of having to make all of these petals, but I absolutely love how it turned out. And it was the only kind of really thick wire that I could think of from the Dollar Tree that would be easy enough to maneuver and attach to this, but strong enough to keep its shape for the petals. So I just keep cutting these. The masking tape method worked great. I'll probably use that all the time when I cut this wire jute because I always struggle with it. And the total time I spent on this sunflower bee wreath was, I think, 2 hours. So it was a really long DIY, but I have it way sped up for you. So just a few more petals and we have a flower shape. And from there, we can keep decorating this DIY. I was just checking my spacing on everything and making sure the wire was bent properly. And I think that looks pretty good. Now for the petals, I wanted all of mine to be yellow like a sunflower, and I found this soft, like fleecy yellow fabric at the Dollar Tree this year, and luckily I picked up 2 packages of this because it's definitely going to require a lot. Other items that you could use to line your petals is like the honeybee or honeycomb burlap. There's honeycomb fabric and other kinds of yellow fabrics as well. But I love the color of this one. I thought it would be perfect. So I just sketched out one bunny ear on the fabric with a Sharpie. And I'm going to kind of fold it here so I can cut 4 at a time. A little bit of a time saver. It's a little longer than half though, so I do have to go in for my second piece, but I was able to save quite a bit of this fabric. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it all at once. I didn't pin it down or anything. It seemed to stay in place pretty well, just making sure everything is still lined up. And we're going to cut this out. I want it cut pretty much the right size, but a little bit wider so that there'll be enough fabric to attach it to the sides of the petal. And this fabric, it was folded up, so there is some wrinkling in it, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't have any wrinkling in my sunflower. So I do go through and iron these once I cut them. It'd probably have been a little bit easier to iron the fabric first though, because I had to go in and do them all separately. So I'm using that same little bunny ear for a template. I've stacked it in 4 here on the second piece. And I'm actually going to draw it on there. It makes it a little bit easier. I probably shouldn't have used an orange marker though, because I had a hard time trying to cut all of that off. A chalk marker would probably work a little bit better, but we're going to cut out 4 more here. And so now I'll just need 2, and I still have both of those fabric scraps there, so no problem. I'll have plenty of fabric for this. I kind of like the fact that it's yellow, more traditional for a sunflower, this fabric, but you could always mix it up and use different fabric for each petal. That could be really fun as well. So I just needed 2 more and we're almost there. And then I was like, I do want to iron these. I have a Cricut Easy Press. I don't really use this for t-shirts anymore since I have a fancy heat press now, but it's great for my crafting station to iron fabrics that I'm crafting with. So it is handy and I love using it for that. So I'm just going to give all of these a quick iron and then we're going to attach these to the petals. I did have to do it a different way for the wire versus the wire jute, and I'll show you how I put it all together. Now, normally when I cover Dollar Tree wreath forms with fabric, I will attach the fabric to the back, the wire on top, and then I'll cover the wire with something else like Dollar Tree rope, which is what we're going to use on these petals too. And so I'm going to do that for the wired parts. I find that the easier way, but when I got to the twine parts, I had to do it a little bit differently because I didn't want that twine to get in the way. It's definitely thicker and bulkier than just the wire. The wire is really small, so it's easy to kind of hide underneath the Dollar Tree rope. So I just put hot glue all around the petal and laid this on here, kind of stretching out the fabric to make sure it goes edge to edge. Don't worry if you have a little bit extra fabric, you can always trim it off if you can see it after you add your rope. But these 2 petals were really easy with the metal parts here. So I'm going to do the same thing here for the second one. Now, since I can't really go underneath with the wired jute because that jute's going to get in the way, I'm actually going to lay it on top of it. So I'm just going to do a half of it at a time so my hot glue doesn't set up. And I just put hot glue there and lay my fabric out going all the way to the edge of it. And one thing I liked about doing the twine parts is the petals aren't perfect, which of flower petals are not perfect. So I kind of think it added to the vibe of it. I made my fabric a little bit longer here so I can make sure that it's all going to be tucked into the center of the sunflower when we're done with it. And that seemed to work really well. So I just do hot glue on half, lay the fabric on there, make sure it's lined up properly, and then go in and do the other half. And I just have to do that 6 more times. That also adds to like the time that it took to do this project, but I'm so glad I made it. It's so large. You can use this for a wall hanging, but I think it's going to look great on my front door. So many fun options for a spring wreath, and I think this is a perfect theme. And I can also use it for summer too. So win-win. I just keep going around. I'm using like the fuzzy fabric up here on this and attaching 1 petal at a time. Having them all cut and iron and everything like that did kind of increase the speed on this, kind of made it a little bit like an assembly line. Now, if you're going to use the bunny ears for all of them, you would go under the wire for all of them too. But this is how I made mine. Mine was a little bit more of a challenge, making my own petals, but I really love how it turned out. Now that I have it all together, I noticed that the petals that were not made out of metal wanted to come out a little bit. So I just put some hot glue on the twine on the back of every one of the petals and just glued that to the wreath form, that outer wreath form there, so they would stay flat against my door and not come apart. I guess I could have wired them to the outer ring as well, but I thought it'd be easier to kind of hide all the components if I went into that middle ring. But that seemed to do the trick. So I just made sure that those were all glued down really well. And now we need to make this look better by bordering them all out. For that, I'm going to use Dollar Tree rope. I'm going to use like the thinner one. I had so many pieces of scrap rope in this size, so this was a great DIY for that because I got rid of so many scraps. So I just start here, making sure it's a little bit longer so it kind of goes inside that wreath form, and simply attaching it with hot glue. I want to make sure that I hide the wire, and I also try to hide the outsides of the fabric. If there is some yellow fabric coming out, I can always trim that off. And I'm going to do these each individually, which really adds to the scrap rope factor. You could do this with a thicker rope from the Dollar Tree too, but I kind of wanted to do it with a thinner one if I could. And so the wire wreath forms are really easy. I just glue it to the wire like that, making sure it's in the perfect position before it glues down, and cut off the excess rope. Now, basically it's the same thing for the petals that I DIY'd. I can kind of feel there where the twine was underneath of it and just glue it to the edge of the fabric and just kind of do the same thing. And we're going to continue doing that rope all the way around. This is why this wreath took 2 hours, because there's so many steps involved in it. But I'm going to put this in super speed, rapid fashion crafting here so we can get this all lined out. Then the next thing I need to do is going to be the center of the sunflower. And I have a fun idea for that. I was trying to think of something circular that I could put inside there to have like a harder surface so I could do the center of the sunflower. I thought about using foam board or poster board, but I didn't know how well that would hold up outside. So I decided to go with a wood sign. And I was able to find a wood sign from Dollar Tree that I think will work perfectly. Now, once I have it all glued on, I do have like a little bit of a mess of hot glue here on the back. I went and kind of cleaned mine up a little bit with my heat gun, but honestly, you're not going to be able to see it back there anyway. And then it is time for the center. So this is the wood circle that I found. It's the perfect size. It doesn't have to be this one. It really can be any of them. But you know what? It already has a hanger on there, so I thought I would take advantage of that, kind of just putting that through the wreath form here. And I can attach this to the wreath form. The problem is that the wreath form, that middle section's higher and it's a little bit larger than the sign, so there's really no great way to glue this down. So I actually ended up using rope to glue it down. So I'm using more of that scrap rope that I used for the petals, and I'm gluing the rope to the wood sign and also to the wreath that I'm DIYing, and that's going to secure the wood on there, since there was really no good way for me to secure that wood down to that wreath form. I guess you could always wire it too, but I really didn't want anything else to get in the way. And you're not going to be able to see this rope in the end, but it did provide a good way to glue this on. So I just went around one time with hot glue. And then I just want to find kind of the center of this. I'm going to work from the center of the flower out with Dollar Tree rope. And for this one, I'm going to switch up to the larger diameter rope, just so I don't have to use as much. It really doesn't matter which one you use. And I start right here in the middle with a little dab of hot glue and just start spiraling this around. What I want to do is spiral rope until it covers the beginning of the petals and it covers that wire wreath form, and that's going to be the center of our sunflower. I thought about painting this like a darker color, but I really like how the rope matches the rope around the petals, and I think the Dollar Tree rope is really pretty on its own, so I'm going to leave it this color. Now, the wider rope does cover more at a time, but it is shorter. There wasn't enough on here to make it all the way around, so I did have to use 2 packages. But it's easy enough to start and stop on this. Just make sure you remove your tape from your ends and kind of push it together as you start and stop. You can always add a little hot glue to that little section to make it blend in a little bit better. And my circles stayed pretty symmetrical here. I was a little worried that it wouldn't be when I got to this part, but I didn't have any problems covering everything up here. So I just continue with that same piece of rope. And basically I use the whole thing. So going all the way around, so 2 packages of the thicker rope there for the middle. And I want to kind of cut this at an angle here so it doesn't take away from the round shape here, and glue down the little ends of the rope here with some hot glue. It's looking so cute. I really love how this DIY turned out. And this is a bee DIY. We haven't got to the bee yet. And then it's Dollar Tree rope. So of course it's a little bit fuzzy. I just went around with my lighter to help clean it up. And one thing I noticed is that my hanger was not going to be long enough for a wreath hanger to hang on my door, because then I don't want it to be behind the petals. I want it to be longer. So I had to add a little bit more twine to it to make mine long enough to hang on the front door as well. Now for the bee, I picked up this cute little bee wind chime from the Dollar Tree. You could also use like the bee yardstick or whatever you can find. This does have holes in the top and bottom. I'm going to show you how I go about covering those up though. I just use a pair of pliers and take all of the metal chain off mine. I thought it was the perfect size bee for this. It's painted really nicely, so I really don't have to do anything to it. I do want to cover up the holes in it though, and I thought I would use something that would also help to attach it. So I'm using some of the Dollar Tree thumbtacks that come in the little nail boxes from the Dollar Tree hardware section. And I put a little hot glue down here on the rope to secure my little bee to it. And this is going to also secure it. So I put a little hot glue in each one of my holes to glue the thumbtack down into the rope. And I can always paint those to kind of make that blend in a little bit. And that was a really good way to try to cover up those holes. I just used a yellow paint pen and a color that was really close here for the little end of my bee. And switch it up for a black one here for its head. And I also have a little bit of a black stripe here, so I'm going to continue that on too to make the thumbtack completely blend into the project. And this is how it turned out, my giant sunflower bee wreath for spring or summer. It was a labor of love, but I absolutely love how it turned out. I think it's so much fun. What do you guys think about this one? I've always wanted to make something like this, but again, finding that many bunny heads, unless you get really lucky or order them online, I think it would be kind of hard to do, but this is one way you can do it without them. For this bee DIY, I'm going to use one of these little adhesive cork pads from the Dollar Tree that's got a great honeycomb shape, and a Dollar Tree wood bee. And we're going to do a really fun little bee in a honeycomb and make a little standing sign. Now this is adhesive, so it's got like you can pull off the back and adhere something to it. So I thought I would take advantage of that, and I'm going to add some honeycomb fabric on here. Now this is a scrap piece of honeycomb fabric that I've had from previous years. I've noticed every year they come out with a slightly different one. You could also use the honeycomb burlap if that's all you can find. But I thought that would be fun to get the little honey cells inside. I just cut out my scrap fabric. It was just large enough. And I'm just going to give it a quick iron so it'll be nice and flat when I attach it. Now, I didn't think that the adhesive on the back of this little cork board was going to be strong enough to keep the fabric on there, so I decided to make it stickier by adding Mod Podge all over. And that seemed to work really well. And I just put a nice even coat and lay this on here. I have to line this up perfectly to make my scrap piece fit, but I was able to do it. Once I get it on there, I just use a dry paper towel to smooth that out, trying to make sure I don't get any bubbles, and give that a dry so I can cut off the excess material. I usually do like to add the material first like this so I can cut things down to size, get a perfect cut. And I will be framing this out too, so it won't look rough or anything with the rough edges of the fabric. And I want to add that little bee to the front of it and make a cute little standing sign. And there's lots of different options for hexagon signs like this from the Dollar Tree. I have dry erase, I have like chalkboard, I have this adhesive cork, I have signs. I have found so many different ones. But I love the shape of it. To border it out, I'm going to use some of the thinner rope from Dollar Tree. And just like with signs, I'm just going to put some hot glue here on the edges. I use the thinner one because this is not super thick. And I thought this would do a good job of sealing that up, and it's going to look better than those white edges. And I guess this is for, like, they have different ones, dry erase, cork boards, and stuff like that. You can put these on the wall. But I saw mine, and I thought that should be a bee DIY. I go all the way around here, just making sure that I kind of meet here at a corner where I can blend that rope in where I start and stop. And I think that looks really cute. I'm going to attach it to one of these metal signs from the Dollar Tree. It's just a quick way to make a standing sign. I'm going to add hot glue back here. You could always use a stronger glue if you wanted for this part. But I think that that should hold the cork on pretty well. It's really a lightweight little item. And test it out, make sure it's going to stand up. And since it's so light, it stands up really well. Now for the bee, I got this little wood bee from the Dollar Tree. I think he's so cute. I'm just going to have to paint him. Now, most of him is like the back part or the body. So I thought that part should be black. So I just go in with a paintbrush and paint the entire thing black, just because the bump out parts, it's going to be almost impossible not to get paint on those. And I can always add a few layers of the different colors I want on there to counteract that black. But I just did one coat. I'm okay if it's a little rough looking. It'll just save me from having to distress it when I'm done with it. And then for the bee stripes, I used a yellow paint pen. Again, going yellow over black, a little bit difficult, but I just used 2 or 3 coats of the paint pen to get that bright pop of yellow. But when the little pieces are already attached like this from the Dollar Tree, I find that that is the easier way. And I was trying to think about what color I should do the wings, because they definitely need to be a color, but nothing too bright or anything like that. And I ended up just doing white. So again, just like with the yellow, white over black, I am going to have to do a couple of coats. But when I'm working with smaller projects like this, I find paint pens are really easy. Posca paint pens are definitely my favorite. I have these linked in my Amazon shop. You can usually get them on sale pretty cheap on Amazon, but I've also bought them at Target before and individual colors at, I think, Michael's. And I thought my yellow probably needed one more coat to pop against that black. And this is a really fun little bee to create. I've picked up quite a few of these because I think it's a really nice size for bee crafting. And of course, another coat on the wings as well. But he is about ready to go. I'm going to attach him to the front of that little beehive honeycomb once I get him finished painting. Now, I added some hot glue to the back, and at first I was going to kind of put him in the corner like that, but I think I would like him better in the center, so I had a little bit of time to move him to the center without any harm. And I think he looks really cute so far. I did want to add another little fun like spring or summer touch by adding some grass to the stand. This is some of that faux grass for Easter at Dollar Tree Plus right now. I love this stuff for Easter crafting, but I thought it would be really good with this too. It's just a little mat like this, so I'm going to cut it here from behind. I cut it a little bit larger because you're going to need to cut it down a little bit. See how it has like that black mat that's visible? So you can go in and kind of cut that out and get it closer to the grass itself. And so I just cut a little rectangle there for the rectangular base. I thought that'd be a fun little touch. And then I cut a little slit about halfway so I can go around that little metal pole there in the middle. And I'm just going to attach it with a little bit of hot glue right here to keep it attached. And I think that added a little fun element to this spring DIY and made it like a little bit less plain. I love those little metal stands like that from the Dollar Tree, though. I always have some of those in my stash for crafting because you don't have to make a stand or anything like that. This is how it looks. I think it's so cute. I guess you could also add a few bees like crawling around in the grass down there too, the little wooden ones. Or you could also use resin ones. When I was on Amazon buying those little wooden bees, I also came across resin ones, which were really cute too, a little bit translucent. But here it is, our little honeycomb using that little tile piece and a honeybee from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And I love DIYs. They're definitely one of my favorites for spring and summer. For the next one, we're going to do just a really simple little sign. I'm going to use one of the long board signs from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use one of their wall decals. I found one that says Be Happy with a really cute print on here, and I thought this would be a really easy way to do a bee sign, and it'll be like tall and skinny. So the first thing I did was just remove the existing hanger on the back because I want mine to be vertical, and I'm just going to use a little sawtooth hanger here to hammer this into the back. I always save these when I craft Dollar Tree canvases so I can use them for other crafting DIYs. As you can see, it's a little bit long, but I think we can make this work. First off, I just went in and kind of cut this little bee off here at first and kind of cutting the edges here where I can make it fit. And then I'm just going to peel and stick. It has like a clear background on this one. And you'll be able to see that wood come through. And I think that's going to make it fit perfectly. I just want to make sure to smooth it out. So I get very little bubbling. I love these signs from the Dollar Tree. They're so cute. If you have a speck of anything under that, you will get a little bit of bubbling. So I was trying to make sure I didn't have any of that. And it is kind of shiny like this, but I am going to tone it down a little bit. And I do still have this extra bee, and I do have a little space down here at the bottom. So I thought I might as well use it. I just kind of cut that to make it make sense, and we can fit him right down here. And I just want to make sure that I get all the color off of that so it's all transparent back there in the back. Now I'm going to do a couple things to make this look a little bit better. I want it to look distressed. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the decal. Since this is like a wood slat sign, I'm just going to use a razor blade and cut everything here so it looks like it's on separate boards. And I don't know why, I just think that looks a little bit better. And then I want to do a few things to it to make it less glossy. The wall decal itself is really cute, but as you can see, it's really shiny. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over everything with some matte finish Mod Podge. That's going to help seal it on there and make sure it stays attached, but it's also going to dry with a matte finish, which will hopefully make that not quite so shiny. Just trying to make sure I got good coverage here and spreading that out. I want to go all the way up to the frame, not necessarily on the frame. But I like these colors together. Whenever I find the blank signs like this from the Dollar Tree, they're my favorite. There's also ones with words on them, which I kind of try to avoid because I notice that they're not glued on properly. If you look at them closely before you buy them, make sure, because they're all different levels, the letters for some reason. I wish they would come in sets so you could kind of do it yourself. Now, I thought it was still a little bit too shiny, so I did go over mine with another coat of Mod Podge so it looks heavily distressed and matte to get rid of that sheen, and just kind of wiping off some of the excess. I don't want too much of that Mod Podge. I don't want it drying like super white in the corners or anything like that, but I do want to leave like a texture on there of it. I think it makes it look better. So I just give it a quick dry with my heat gun. And then I'm also going to use one of those sanding sponges from the Dollar Tree to sand it, make it kind of look a little bit rougher. I like the distressed look. So I just go over that until I'm happy with the finish of it. It was a super easy DIY to make. I think it turned out really cute. It was really easy with just 2 items from the Dollar Tree and a fun way to use those little wall stickers from the Dollar Tree. So let me show you how this one turned out. Very cute. I have done so many like bee tier trays, coffee bars, different things like that for my house. Definitely one of my favorite things to craft with. And I do have a bee tier tray DIY later on in today's video. Super cute. Now for the next one, I found this like hexagon frame from the Dollar Tree, and I was wondering if I could do like a cutout of a honeycomb pattern so I could make like a see-through honeycomb. I thought that would be really fun to try to do. So I thought this frame would be perfect. It's a black frame, and I'm going to use some of this cardstock from the Dollar Tree. They had a yellow in there. I thought that'd be perfect for a honeycomb, and I'm going to use my Cricut to cut this out because this is going to be intricate. So I designed an SVG file of honeycomb, and I will share that as a free SVG in the description of today's video. So you'll be able to cut one out too if you have a Cricut. I cut it out. I did 9 by 9. I thought that would be plenty big for this size frame, and the Cricut did an awesome job for this. Let me show you. I made sure not to make it too thin because I didn't want the cardstock breaking. And I'm just going to peel it off, leaving behind all those little cells there. You could always use those for some more bee crafting. And I think this is going to work really well. I want it to just be the frame and then have all these honeycombs cut out. So the first thing I do is just remove the back, the glass, everything that was in this frame. And we can find a way to attach the honeycomb cells here to the back. And including the little pieces there that keep the back of the frame on, those are going to get in the way. So I just use a screwdriver and go ahead and remove all of those. Now I'm left with this great little black frame, perfect size for this honeycomb that we cut out. But I do need to find a way to cut it down and to attach it to the frame itself. So I just laid my frame on top, and I'm just going to go around with a pencil. And anywhere where I come upon a honeycomb piece, I am just sketching that out with my pencil, so I'll know how to cut this down to size. I want it to go inside the frame, so it needs to be a little bit shorter than what I cut out. So I just cut inside those lines, but I definitely don't want to cut it too much because I want to make sure it fits. And I just go around and carefully cut that part out. Now, I wasn't sure if there was going to be enough items to glue to the frame itself since there's so many openings on this. So I'll show you what I ended up doing to attach this. First of all, let's try it on to see if it's going to fit. And I probably cut it a little too big, so I am going to trim it down a little bit to make it fit better. So I just kind of cut one little piece at a time. Anywhere where I see it's not fitting inside the frame, I want to make sure that the paper is not visible from the front. And then I have some spare paper left over from the cardstock. What I'm gonna do is cut little strips. So those strips will go on the inside of the frame where it will kind of frame it out, yet it won't be visible. So I'm just using my paper cutter and I'm gonna cut down some really thin little strips of paper. This way I'll get a straighter cut. And then I'm just going to go around and piece that together all the way around it. So I'll have something a little bit more substantial to glue down because I want to make sure it's strong enough because we're going to be adding some bees to this as well. So I kind of cut them down to size, one little section at a time. And then since it's paper to paper, I'm just going to use a glue stick to attach these. I thought that'd probably be the best way to glue them on top of each part of the paper. And then I will go in with some hot glue to secure the whole panel in a little bit better. That was kind of just to glue it to itself and the honeycomb. But I want to make sure that this doesn't fall out and it's nice and strong. So now that I have that all done, I can go in with some hot glue around the edges and glue each end down. I was so glad that I used my Cricut to cut out this honeycomb design. It made it so much easier. I guess you could try cutting it out by hand, but you're not going to get that crisp cut like that you're going to get from your Cricut. So that looks pretty good. I do want to make it a standing sign, and the frame itself is not quite thick enough to make it stand up. So I'm going to use some Dollar Tree craft wood for that. I'm just going to cut out a piece of it that's a little bit wider to make a base. And we can always paint this black to make it blend in with the black honeycomb frame. So I just cut it down and made sure to sand it so it looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and paint it black before I attach it. I try to always have some Dollar Tree craft wood like this in my stash to craft with. And I've also cut down other wood items to use for this kind of same purpose. It's always good to have handy. And it makes a perfect base. It's going to be nice and heavy. For the bees, I found some really cute little string bees from Michaels. Aren't these so cute? And I am going to use these as bees on there. I actually got these on sale at Michaels. I usually don't shop there. Their craft supplies are too expensive for me. But when these guys were on sale, I couldn't pass them up. I'm going to take them off of the greenery like this. They have a little bit of hot glue holding them on. And then I'm going to attach them to it. Aren't they so cute? Look at them. They're like covered in like yellow and black string. They have cute little antennas, legs, and wings. And I thought they'd be perfect to display on this little honeycomb. They're not going to be super heavy for that paper honeycomb backing. And I thought two of them would look really cute on here. I'm just going to put a little hot glue on their feet to make them stick to the paper. And I love these. They're so cute. I've used them for a bee coffee bar before, so I'm already getting a second use out of these cute little guys. I think that looks pretty good. And now I can go ahead and attach this little honeycomb to the craft wood. I just do a bead of hot glue and center that right on there and let that set up. And here it is, our little honeycomb cutout frame with little bees on it. I love the fact that you could see through it like that. I think that's a really fun little feature and a fun way to cut out little honeycomb cells. As you can see, it's nice and bright yellow, black. The frame was already black, so I didn't have to paint it at all. And how adorable are those little bees from Michaels? I really love those. Super cute. I have DIY'd some bees, not quite this size bee, using like little yellow pom-poms from the Dollar Tree. So you can make your own too, and you can make them, they were string like that. For this bee DIY, I found this great like honeycomb pattern golden frame from the Dollar Tree. I thought we can make something fun, a bee themed with this. So again, I'm just going to remove the glass, the back, the staples, and anything like that. And I want to make another kind of see-through sign with a chicken wire, so it kind of looks a little bit like a honeycomb cell. I actually found this chicken wire at Dollar Tree. I know it can be a little hard to find there, but I wish they would carry it more often because it's really fun for crafting, especially for spring. So what I want to do is I'm using my little floral like wire scissors there from the Dollar Tree, and I am cutting this down to size here where I can fit it on the back of the frame. Now I want to attach this whenever I craft with chicken wire. I always like to use staples for that. I think it's a little bit more durable. The only problem I had with this DIY is that the frame is from the Dollar Tree, so of course it's kind of thin. So some of my staples did come through, and you could see I do end up masking them a little bit, but I might have been better off trying to glue this on. I just don't know if glue would keep chicken wire on. Have you ever had any success with that? I just went ahead and tried to staple on the thickest part of it I could, and I was like, I will just go back and try to repair any damage that I can, but I need a way to attach it. I want to make sure that the wire is cut down enough too that you can't see it from the sides. So once I get it all attached, I do trim it up as well. And I think it's looking really cute. It is silver though, and the frame is like honeycomb pattern with gold. So I thought we would do a gold bee DIY with this one, kind of go with that gold theme. The first thing I do is just glue down one of the little wood chalkboard bees here to the honeycomb cell like this. And I thought I could just paint the whole thing at once. So I went ahead and glued that on there. That way I can paint the bee gold and I can paint the chicken wire gold too. I have some gold spray paint. So I'm just going to take it outside and spray the whole thing gold. That way everything will be one finish and match that gold frame. So this is what it looks like with the little gold bee on there, the little gold honeycombs. But again, I could see damage on there from my staples, which I kind of knew was going to happen. So I do need to mask it. To mask it, you could use rope or something like that. I had some of this really cute little honeycomb ribbon from the Dollar Tree that is like a thinner ribbon like this. I thought this would work really well. So what I'm going to do is just frame out the inside of the frame with that, just to kind of cover up the staples. I wanted to make sure that none of that came through. If you were to use a thicker frame, you probably wouldn't have as much trouble with this. I also wanted to make sure that you couldn't really see the hot glue through this ribbon. So I used tacky glue for this to glue it down, and just cut a piece down for each side and glued that on there. I really love the gold feel for bee crafts. I think it's a really fun theme. If you're not going to do like straight yellow and black, gold can be really fun as well. So I just kind of took my time and used the tacky glue, making sure everything was cut down and dry. Now to cover the little hole there in the little bee, I'm just going to do a little bow. I actually had some yellow and white baker's twine that I got at the Dollar Tree. That kind of goes with the yellow and white feel. So I just tied a little bow there and just going to attach that to that hole with a little bit of hot glue to dress it up. And I decided to use that same yellow and white twine to make a hanger here. Just stringing it to the chicken wire, tying that off, and I have a cute little hanging sign, really fun and whimsical. Again, it's combining like the honeycomb shape of the chicken wire, the honeycomb frame, and a little bee as well. And the ribbon too is a fun touch. I wish I could have done it without the ribbon, so I might have needed to use shorter staples. That probably could have solved my problem. Dollar Tree signs and frames like this can definitely be challenging to staple through for sure, because they're not always the thickest, but I think it turned out really cute. For the next bee DIY, I got one of these little bees on the ladders. They have these every year in the spring and garden section to hang on pots, and I thought we could DIY them. I thought that'd be really cute. So I have some honeycomb fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I found a hexagon sign and like the wood slat board. I thought we could dress this up and make it really cute. Now, it is black already. I'm going to cover it up, though, with the honeycomb. I thought that'd be a fun background. I just need to cut it down to size. So what I did is I laid my fabric on there. It does have a slight frame, and I'm going to flip it over so I can kind of draw on it. And I just used like a yellow Sharpie, so it would kind of blend in, but I could see where I need to cut it. And I just kind of traced that out on the inside of that hexagon frame, so I'd be able to cut that down to size. I'm just going to cut those out with scissors, Doesn't have to be perfect. I can always align that to make it look a little bit better around the edges. But I actually did a pretty good job and did not have to do that. I just could cover it with the fabric. This kind of serves the same purpose that you could use like scrap book paper or something like that to cover the back of your craft. But they don't have a lot of varieties of scrapbook paper at Dollar Tree, so I usually use fabric instead. I'm going to have a hanging sign. I want to make sure this is really attached. So I use quite a bit of Mod Podge here on the sign, maybe a little too much. And then I'm going to put the fabric down. A nice honeycomb pattern. Again, they have like, I think I have 3 or 4 different honeycomb fabrics from Dollar Tree. Plus, I also have a honeycomb burlap. You can use any of those to get that fun honey pattern for the inside of your honeycomb. Now, the frame is like a light wood, and I want mine to be a little darker. So I just went in with a foam brush and some antique wax by Waverly and did a quick stain on the frame, wiping off the excess there with a paper towel, and it gave me a nice medium finish. Just want to make sure that it is fairly uniform, and it has wood beads on the hanger. So I went ahead and distressed those with the Antique Wax by Waverly too, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe to give them a weathered look as well. I had trouble kind of getting in between the beads though, so I switched to a brush to get a little bit more even coverage on staining those. But you know what? I didn't have to take them off or anything. I just did them when they were still attached. Now it's time for the little bee on the ladder. We're going to leave him attached to a ladder like this. And he has like the black part that goes over the top of the pot. But we're going to take advantage of that and actually just hook that on top of the honeycomb sign, just like this. It's perfect for that. It can make it look like he's working. He's coming down a ladder into his honeycomb. I'm just going to bend the little holders here, the metal holders here with my pliers to make it stay on, make it a little bit tighter, his grip on the sign. And I can also glue down part of the ladder here to the honeycomb fabric. So cute. I kind of have it at an angle like this so I can also add some more decor. These are some yellow flowers, spring flowers that I got from the Dollar Tree. And again, I love yellow flowers, white flowers with yellow centers and stuff like that. When I'm doing bee crafting, you can kind of use whatever you have. I cut down a couple little pieces here, and I'm going to use my staple gun to attach that to the thicker part there of the wood frame, where it kind of comes out the side like that for a fun little feature. Then I decided I want to cover it by staple. So again, I'm going to be using Dollar Tree rope. I love that. I know I went in and stained the frame of it, but I decided I wanted to kind of go around the edges with the rope. It could hide the little black part of the ladder. It could also hide the staples here attaching the flowers. So I'm just going to use some of the thinner brown rope from the Dollar Tree and glue that all the way around that hexagon shape for another fun feature. I just go over the little metal part right there. It just helped disguise it a little bit too. And I love the rope, of course. Once I get it on there, I'm just going to go in and burn off any fuzzies on there on the rope. And I also wanted to add the word bee on there. I thought that would be really cute. I'm going to use some of the little Scrabble letters from Dollar Tree and just spell out the word bee. I guess you could also always spell out like honey as well. Anything fun like that. I'm just going to put it down here towards the bottom, underneath the ladder where I kind of had room, and just spell out the word bee. What a cute little wall hanging. It's small enough to kind of go about anywhere, or you could combine it with other bee DIYs. That's what I did to make like an entire display of bee DIYs for spring. Absolutely adorable. And I love those little bees on the ladders. They have them every year from Dollar Tree. And again, whatever hexagon sign that you find, you can definitely customize it and make it your own. But I think he's really cute. What do you guys think? For this bee DIY, I found this little wood cutout from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. It is a wood honeycomb, and it's already got like the wood honeycomb pattern cut out like this with the bee on there. So a lot of the work's already done for me. But I wanted to see if I can combine a couple items and really make this item pop. So the first thing I need to do is paint this. I'm going to use a bright yellow acrylic paint, and I'm just using a makeup sponge, and I'm just going to go all over here and paint our honeycomb yellow. I want to combine a couple different signs together to really kind of make this extra special. And again, you can find a lot of like hexagon shaped signs from the Dollar Tree that would work for this. So I kind of went around, I was trying to avoid my bee, if I could, from painting it yellow. So I did go in here with a tiny brush and try to get some of the honeycomb. But again, when these signs are attached together like this, it becomes kind of inevitable that you're going to get some paint on there. So I did, and I just decided to embrace it and paint the entire thing yellow. Now, I do want it to be wood looking though. So once it's yellow, I went over it with some antique wax by Waverly. I didn't want this one to be super colorful. You could if you wanted, but I wanted the wings to kind of look like a stained wood and kind of an opaque looking material. And then I decided to do the whole bee that color because I kind of liked the way that it was looking, the antique wax by Waverly over the yellow paint. So I just go in and try not to get any on the back if I can, and just do the little legs and of course the wings there of it. And then I can go back in and wipe off the excess stain, and a little bit of the yellow pops through, but of course I did get a little antique wax by Waverly where I didn't want it. So I'm gonna go in with some more yellow and kind of touch up our little honeycomb cell to make it look a little bit better. Now, the next item I wanted to add was another one of the hexagon signs from the Dollar Tree, the wood slat. This one's black. And I also want to have some burlap behind it as well. For the burlap, I'm using one of the faux burlap bags from Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these. You can just cut the front and the back off of these and you have a great sheet of faux burlap. It's got like a light plastic coating on the back, so it's easy to cut. It doesn't fray or anything like that, and it's great for crafting. So I just cut the front panel off, cut the handle out, and I have a great piece of burlap. This is this cute little hexagon sign with the wood bead hanger on the top. And I want to see if I can combine this together with the honeycomb pattern. And this is going to be the sign for the back. Now I notice even though it is like a faux burlap, you can still see through it. And I could see that the frame is not black. And so I'm going to go in and paint it black so it will all look the same when it is behind, because the other hexagon sign is wider than that back sign. It needs the entire black background, including the frame. So I just go in there with some black acrylic paint and paint that. I'm glad I noticed that before I started attaching the burlap on there, because that would probably bother me. So once I got that painted black, I can cover the entire thing with burlap. I'm just going to go in there with some hot glue, put hot glue all along the edges. I did half of it at a time so my hot glue wouldn't set up, and just laid my faux burlap on there. I can always go back and cut it down to size once I get it attached. And even though it's got that plastic backing on there, you can still hot glue with it. It's a really thin plastic coating on the back. And then I did the same thing here with the bottom. Wanted to make sure that it was really secure. And this is going to be a great backdrop for the yellow honeycombs. Now that I have it glued, I'm just going to go in here and cut off my excess burlap. And again, the great thing about these bags is that you don't have to deal with a burlap fraying, so you don't have to seal the edges or anything like that when you go about cutting them. That's a nice neutral background, I think, for this honeycomb. See, I want to sit it right on top like that. And that's why I needed the frame too, because it's a slightly bigger than this back sign. To attach it, I'm just going to put it all together with hot glue. I just do hot glue along the outer edges. And I'm going to have to do it all at once so I can just sit it on there and glue it down. Just like that. I love the burlap backdrop. I think that looks really cute. Now, I like the wood bead hanger on this one, but I thought it needed to be painted or distressed, so I decided to kind of just flip it over, use some antique wax by Waverly on those wood beads, using a brush to get down in there and wipe off the excess stain. Easy peasy, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to detach the hanger or anything like that. And then I thought the last thing it needed was a flower. I found these really cute, like white and yellow cone flowers from the Dollar Tree. Goes great with the bee theme. And I'm going to use one of those to decorate this little honeycomb cell as well. I think that looks really cute. I think maybe up here in the corner. I'm going to cut it down a little bit so it doesn't stick out quite as much, and just attach that with hot glue. And I think it's so cute. So you can find a little honeycomb cutout sign like this from the Dollar Tree. And this is a fun way to craft with it. So let me show you how it turned out. I love the fact that the little bee on there is yellow, but distressed to look like wood. Just gives another fun option if you don't want to paint all of the details on one of those Dollar Tree bees. But I think the burlap looks really cool. The backdrop of the bright yellow honeycomb shapes on there. And this is how this one turned out. Up next, we're going to decorate a tier tray with a bee theme. It's definitely one of my favorite themes for a tier tray. This is the tier tray we're going to be DIYing today. The first thing I'm going to do is make a little mini banner. I love a little mini banner for any kind of a tier tray. And I found this great yellow and black striped ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This was just in the crafter square, but I thought it would be perfect for a bee theme. And what I want to do is cut out some little triangle shapes like that. I can actually use the finished part of the ribbon on the edges for a nice top on these. And I just want to cut down some little triangular pieces to make a little mini pennant banner. I love to hang that on one of the tiers. It's a fun way to dress up your tier tray. You can also wrap them with ribbon. My rectangular wood tier trays, though, I think they look a little bit better when you kind of have something going across the front of one of the tiers like this. It's going to be a very simple little pennant banner. Once I get them all cut down, I just take a piece of twine that I cut down to size for the front of my tier, and I'm just going to attach them with hot glue, trying to make sure that they're evenly spaced out. And then I can attach that to my tier tray with just a dot of hot glue on each side. Pretty lightweight and an easy way to attach it. Whenever I do pennant banners like this, I try to do an odd number. Think that it looks better when you have an odd number, so 3 or 5 or something like that. So I'm going to do 5 for this one. Little bee mini banner, super cute, and we can start decorating the tier tray. This is how I attached it to the top tier. For filler, I'm going to use a little bit of greenery. I got this greenery at Dollar Tree. I think it's so cute, and I thought I could cut it into some little pieces here to make some fun foliage for this tier tray. But I didn't want to cut it into too many pieces. I kind of like the fact that it's a vine like this. I'm going to put like one piece up here on the top tier. I think that looks really cute, and I can use the rest on the bottom. The next item, I don't even have to craft. I got this as a Target dollar spot. It's a little beehive, and it's got like a wood finish. I think it's so cute, and it's just the right size for a tier tray, so we're going to add this here. And I had a couple items I got at Target dollar spot for this one. Now, this one I actually got at my grocery store. It's my little honey pot. I love this thing, but when I was carrying it from here, showing you, I tripped and I broke the top of it, which I was devastated. I had a little bee on there. Here's the remaining pieces of my honey pot. I was so sad, but you know what? It's still cute even without it. It's a little honey pot, and you have like the little honey dipper that came with it too. So I'm still going to use it and put it on the tier tray as well. This item I also got at the Target dollar spot. It's like a little wicker bee. It was $3, but I couldn't pass it up. It's super cute, and I thought it would be the perfect size for a tier tray. And it's kind of like a seagrass material that's all braided in like a tan and like a dark brown. I think it's really cute. I'm just going to trim it up, and this little guy is ready to go. Isn't it adorable? I love it, and I didn't even have to make it, so that makes it even better. I'm going to put it right there, kind of hanging off the side a little bit like he's getting ready to fly away from this bee-themed tier tray. And then, of course, I got to move him a few more times until he's just right. For a little bit more filler, I'm going to use some of these asters from the Dollar Tree. They are a white and yellow flower, so I thought they'd be perfect for the bee theme. I'm just going to give them a quick blow dry to make them look a little bit better, taking them off the stems like this, and I can just kind of scatter these around the tier tray to use as filler. And I love using greenery and flowers and stuff like that on a tier tray. It gives it such a fun feel, especially for spring. These were definitely bent up, so they needed quite a bit of a little blow dry, but after I was done with them, they looked way better. I'm going to go ahead and use all of them. I think I will need that when I'm doing both tiers. So I'm going to place one right over here in front of the honey pot. It's not too tall. You can still kind of see the items behind it. I don't want to cover up too much stuff. And then maybe one back here in the middle where I didn't really have anything. And the top tier is complete of the bee themed tier tray. So let's start DIYing the bottom. I have more of that vine there from the Dollar Tree that I'm using as filler. I love like kind of the ferny nature of this. I think it's really pretty. I just want that to kind of lay flat. The next item I got at the Dollar Tree, a little Be Humble sign. Isn't this so cute? It is the perfect size for a tier tray. You really don't have to do anything to it. It's painted nicely, it stands on its own, and I love the colors. So we're gonna add that little Dollar Tree sign back here. It's tall enough to be a back piece. It's gonna fill that up nicely and have some greenery in front. The next item is a little bee planter I got from the Dollar Tree. It's bright yellow with black bee stripes and a little bee on there. It's so busy that I didn't really want to do like busy flowers or anything with it. I thought maybe just some greenery. So I'm going to use some of this like vine garland from the Dollar Tree and kind of DIY like a faux plant. To do that, I just kind of take it all and spiral it all together. But first, I'm going to go ahead and take it off the wire. It made it a little bit easier to work with, but I want to fill up most of the pot with something else. I'm going to use one of those little styrofoam pieces like this. That will fill it up a little bit, but you know what? I have this leftover wire, so I might as well use that for filler too. So it's kind of a bigger pot. I put that on there. I put the foam on top. Now I don't need near as much of this greenery. I'm just going to cut off the ends of this and start putting this together to make a little faux plant. I thought I could like cut off the little stems and place it down into the foam. It'll look like a little house plant, but using some Dollar Tree greenery, it was super easy to do. Just your stems are not really sharp, so I noticed that if I kind of poked it with one of those little screwdrivers first, I can make a little hole there and I could go in and add the greenery to it. I think it'll be a nice simple little faux house plant. Lord knows I don't need any houseplants because I can't keep them alive, but I think that this will be really cute. At first, I was going to leave them all attached and just kind of spiral it along, but I think it does look better if you take the time and take the greenery off and put them in individually like that into little sections. But it filled up this little planter nicely. I'm going to use a little bit of Spanish moss so you can't see any of the foam in there. And we have a great little house plant to go on the tier tray and a bright yellow bee pot. Super cute. It fits perfectly right down here at the bottom, and I'm going to use that towards the back. It's just the right size. The next item I found at the Dollar Tree is a little bee gnome. They have so many cute ones. This one, he's holding a little beehive. It's so cute, and he has a bee on his other hand. Sometimes they are not painted the best or they're chipped up a little bit, so you might need to take the time to kind of touch up the paint on these. But this one wasn't too bad. This one kind of had a scratched up nose and hands, so I gave it a little bit of paint, but he's really cute on his own, and I love using these little bee gnomes from the Dollar Tree for a tier tray. The next item is a little bee candle that I found at the Dollar Tree. It has a yellow candle in there. It's clear glass and it has a little bee on it. Isn't this so adorable? It's absolutely perfect size for a tier tray. The colors are great. I absolutely love it. And then I decided I wanted you to be able to see the bee even more. So I decided to use a black paint pen and just kind of, paint over the top of that. It's embossed. And you could see it when it wasn't in a tier tray, but I felt like that once I got in the tier tray, you wouldn't be able to see the cute little bee on there. So I decided to sketch it out the best that I could here, kind of switching to a fine tip there for the leg, so it's not too thick, but you can definitely tell it's a bee now. Maybe a few little stripes on here, some yellow stripes, and now that looks like a really perfect little bee candle for the tier tray. Isn't that so cute? I put the lid back on so it would keep the scent in there, and then I'm going to put that right here in the front. The next item is one of these little stone signs. It's like a garden sign from the Dollar Tree. They have lots of these in different varieties for bee theme. You could use this. You can also use the little stepping stones. This one is so cute. It's got a little beehive. It's got some bees on there and a flower. Again, sometimes these aren't painted the best and you might want them to look a little bit better. I love the shape of the sign though. So I'm just going to use my paint pen and touch up the bee. You can also change the color of things if you want, like the flowers and stuff like that. But a quick little touch up and this is a perfect size sign for a tier tray. And I definitely think the flowers look better in white and yellow. It kind of goes with the flowers that I used on there. And this is how it looks after I gave it a quick little makeover. And I think it's going to be perfect as a leaner sign here against the center pole of my tier tray. Very cute, just like that. Then we can use the rest of those flowers for filler. We've already got the greenery down there. Kind of scatter those around wherever. Kind of need something here for this bee themed tier tray. Isn't it so cute? This was such an easy DIY. I found a couple items at Target Dollar Spot. The honey pot actually came from my grocery store. It's already done. And then the rest of the items, of course, are from the Dollar Tree. Let me give you a little look around and show you how cute this turned out. I think I've done maybe three different bee-themed tier trays on my channel, maybe 4. I don't know. I definitely have to do one every year because they're so much fun. And some of the items I like to reuse, like the honey pot and stuff like that. Isn't that so cute? Okay, you've made it all the way to the final reveal. We had 20 Bee Dollar Tree DIYs and ideas for you today. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. And if you would like to watch videos on your phone sometimes, be sure to check out my second channel, Crafty Little Beach, for individual little bite-sized DIYs. And enjoy the final reveal.
In a world of green, just like a dream, you and I standing wild and free, with petals so golden, the sun's warm kiss, a love so strong, a bliss. Whispers of the breeze, secrets unfold. It's you that I need, it's you that I want. When the world gets cold, it's you and me. When the sun comes back, you'll see. Oh, dandelion, the strength that you've shown, stronger each year. Look how we hold on through the toughest of times. We still stand strong. Through pavement we will grow. Forever we will grow.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. I wanted to bring you 20 bee DIYs, so it was kind of a longer one, starting to lose my voice. But I want to say thank you to all my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Live Another Day, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, and Maria Cruz Pagan. I appreciate you guys so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Mom member, all you have to do is hit join next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my videos here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. It's $4.99 a month. You're free to cancel at any time. And I would love to see your DIYs. Be sure to join our private Facebook group. It's linked in the description of today's video, and show off what you've been making. We would love to see it. Would you like even more Bee Dollar Tree DIYs? I've got you covered. Be sure to check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting!